Yes, we're running over time. I'm now going to ask our guest of honour, John Seymour, to have the last word.
Well, firstly, I'd like to say that I think Mr. Oliver Smedley is far too modest in disclaiming my compliment to him that I thought he was one of the flowers.
Which one?
We won't go into that. A rose, I'm certain. And of course, I made too strong a case for the case of the agriculturalist, that we all ride on the agriculturalist's back, which of course we do. But we must have tinkers and tailors and soldiers, unfortunately, and sailors and all sorts of people like that. And we can't all be farmers. We must have cities if we want civilization, because the two words are the same and the one comes from the other. But when the cities become like great cancers on the countryside, great wens, as old Cobbett called them, which means a cancer, when they start to kill the countryside by sucking the lifeblood out of it, by taking all the money out of it and all the young men and the young women out of it and all the talent and brain out of it, and leaving nothing but a lot of old people and children in the villages where the food is grown, then we're reaching a very dangerous situation. And this is the situation that is being reached in nearly every country in the world now. The brains, the talent, the young people are being sucked out of the countryside and poured into these swollen cities. The cities are no longer organic parts of the countries to which they belong. They've become great swollen conurbations. One shouldn't dignify them by the name of city anymore. The word city is a beautiful word, and it means a beautiful thing. When one thinks of Periclean Athens and the great cities of the past and the Renaissance cities in Italy, cities were fine and beautiful things. Lusaka was okay at one time. It's now a great swollen mess. And look at London, for God's sake. Just walk from one side of it to the other. It's a huge, great monstrosity. It bears no decent organic relationship to the countryside around it. Londoners don't know where the devil their food comes from. It would take a strike of the lorry drivers of a fortnight to starve everybody in London. You'd all be starving to death because your food is brought from you don't know where. Most of it miles and miles and miles away, most of it the other side of the world. This is not right. Cities should be the flowers, again I have to use this word, the flowers of the countryside. They should be organically connected with the country that feeds them. Young people should be able to go to universities in the cities and meet other young people and listen to a lot of old professors. Wouldn't do them any harm. But meet other young people from other parts of the world and imbibe the true civilization of this planet, which isn't the monopoly of the Europeans, by the way. But when cities become huge, great dormitories for unemployed people living on the dole and God knows what, they're not doing any good at all. And as the last speaker said, 3 decades of development in the so-called third world have been proved not to have worked. They haven't worked. Now what about leaving it now to good people who, agriculturalists and horticulturalists and people of those countries that know their soil, they know how to work things. Remove the incentives for people to leave the villages and the countryside and go to the cities. Remove those incentives. They're bad, they're evil. Look at the mess that's going on in Nigeria now with the expulsion of how many, is it 1 million people or something like that, all milling about. They should all be back in their villages enjoying themselves, drinking beer and eating good food and living a convivial life, such as Leopold Kohr was talking about when he suggested the idea of the academic inn. He didn't mean that we should all be living in huge, great conurbations on the dole. This is not what he meant at all.